All right. Happy Football Sunday. We are back. Welcome to Big Facts. I'm your host, Aaron Barrison, along with Justin Everett. Justin, we did pretty well last week, somewhat, for how weird of a week that we thought it was going to be. But there's some breaking news in the NFL that I wanted to go over. We'll go through that. We'll get into our picks. We'll talk about the Eagles game. How are you feeling about your picks this week, bud?
I'm excited about my picks this week.
A little easier.
Genuinely excited about my picks this week. This is another week of a bunch of crapshoots for me. Not a lot of detailed thought went into most of these because I think so. You saw most of the lines are close. But now I'm excited for this one. I really am. I think that a lot of crazy shit's going to happen this weekend.
Yeah, you would have trouble going into too much detailed thought, so I can understand that there. So real quick, Detroit, probably long overdue, did fire Matt Patricia and the GM over there. The Titans are going into this week with no quarterback, but will refuse to forfeit this game because then nobody gets paid, and obviously everybody wants to get
Broncos.
Broncos, yeah, that's what I meant. Broncos.
I was like, there's two teams with no quarterbacks?
No, Broncos are going in with no quarterback, and they actually filed a petition with the NFL for one of their coaches to suit up, which got denied. Kind of funny. But a couple more things around the league. We'll get into our picks, and we'll go over those couple things, and then we'll get into this Eagles game, which I was told just by a lot of people on my comment thread that this was going to be a trap game for Seattle. So we'll get into
We'll talk about it.
We'll get into that as well. So Jeff's going to fire up our producer, our picks for us here. We'll go over that.
Here, Jeff.
And then we'll take a quick break after the picks and go into the Eagles.
Do you guys? I never ask you, bud. How are you today? Are you good, Jeff?
I'm great. How was everybody's Thanksgiving?
Quiet at home, like everybody else's.
Yeah, it might be the one positive thing about COVID is our Thanksgiving was small. There was more leftovers for me.
There was no politics talked in my house this time. It was fantastic.
So before you get into your picks, do you guys want to take a quick look back at last week? I have some clips for you.
Yes, let's do it.
You both did pretty well. You both called each called a game pretty well. So here, I'm going to start off with Justin.
These are not two closely matched teams. Tua is going to be a good quarterback, but even if he has let's just pretend that Tua has a bad game today. Miami's defense has been a great defense all year this year. So to think that Drew Lock is going to somehow be able to scrounge up enough to even keep up with the Miami Dolphins, they would have to play a horrible game. I think this is going to be a 10-point game. I haven't seen anything from Denver at this point in the season to convince me that they're going to beat a Miami Dolphins team who has been very good all year and has beaten some really good teams, who I still think, by the way, is going to win the division. Your hate for Tua has to stop, because now it's clouding your judgment to the point where I can't have a football conversation with you about the Miami Dolphins versus the Denver Broncos. There is no chance that Denver wins this football game, and there is no chance that Tua doesn't ride right along to 4-0 in his starts. And there is no chance that Tua doesn't ride right along to 4-0 in his starts.
Reality check.
I've been calling for it, and I haven't picked against it for this reason, but I am this time. Tua is due a reality check. And I look at all these teams and all these places and the rest of their schedule, right? Tua is a rookie quarterback that's about to go 15,000 feet in the air into Denver in November and have to learn what it's like to play on the road in a place where it's uncomfortable. And Tua played college in Alabama. He doesn't know what this weather's like. This is not what he does. Let's see what Tua is after his first season's complete, and let's say he doesn't get hurt. I look at two teams again, which I know what Miami's done the last couple of weeks. We're a team on the rise, and everybody look out and all that horse shit that we have to hear about the Miami Dolphins. They're due a reality check, and I think in Denver is a place where it could go. Prior to that 6.5-point line to Tennessee, this was my upset of the week, Denver at home. I don't know that they win this game. I'm not that confident. but I think that this is a field goal game. I think this is a 24-21, 27-24 game. Denver's going to keep it close. I got to take Denver, man. It's, again, two closely matched teams, and I'm getting more than a field goal. I got to take the points, and I got to go Denver. First of all,
you called it perfectly.
Wait a second.
You called Denver
page and got a picture from when I was 17 years old. That was fantastic. Go ahead. I called Denver. Go ahead.
In my defense, Tua got
no defenses. You don't get defenses. I was here for 20 minutes 2 weeks ago and watch me be wrong. Eat it.
Tua's not playing this week because he had a thumb injury, and I questioned whether he got benched because of that. So go ahead.
Give me a break.
Either way, Justin called it perfectly.
He did.
He not only picked Denver, but he said Tua was going to struggle, and then he also got hurt. Whether it was during the game or at practice, whatever.
Hey, how's that new Steve Young dog? How's he doing?
Well,
huh?
Don't get too confident because now we have.
I had to enjoy a little bit. This is the first time we've had video proof of Aaron being dumb. Let's get back to the normal and see what I said wrong. Oh my
Green Bay Colts.
Oh my God. I looked at this game and said, Aaron's going to pick the fucking Colts.
Of course I
okay. All right. Listen.
I've watched Green Bay over the last couple years. For whatever reason, they're a finesse team. And when they meet the smash mouth teams that have guys on the offensive line and the defensive line that play smash mouth football, they get beat up front all game and they end up losing. So Rodgers is obviously the better quarterback here. I just question whether they can protect him enough to allow him to go off in the way he needs to beat a good Colts team. I like the Colts on the offensive side of the football. I like the Colts on the defensive side of the football. And over the past couple years, whenever Green Bay has ran into a team like this, they've gotten their ass beat.
So again, that was called perfectly. That was the perfect breakdown of the Packers.
Kudos, but it happened. And because of your sage wisdom and advice, I have adjusted my Green Bay Packers visions from this point forward.
Ooh. Now, the last clip that I have here, there was only one person that was undefeated last week, and we'll just let the video clip speak for itself.
Easy one.
You guys finally listen to me. Never take Washington. But for what it's worth, all the experts are saying Washington is the best bet that you can play today. I don't know why. They just are. This seems like one of those games where everything that logically makes sense you go with, and throw it in the garbage. It doesn't matter.
Look, the Bengals also the Bengals got embarrassed last week, okay, by the Steelers. They're going to come out and they are going to light this team up.
But they usually use guys like McKissick as an extension of the run game.
Gibson, and he's in for the Washington touchdown. Burrow looks in his direction, pocket collapses, rolls right. He's going to run for it. Flag, he's thrown, and Burrow is caught. Football is loose. I got it. Smith goes through his reads towards the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown. And missed some kicks, including one last week. This one is on target, and it is good and perfect from Hopkins. Everyone.
Yeah.
I'm going against both of you. I'm taking the Cowboys because I hate Kirk Cousins' face. He's a jerk off. I hate him more than the Cowboys, and I'm looking for a soundbite. Cowboys win outright.
Dallas trailing by 4. Lamb went in motion. Dalton looking end zone. He throws. Touchdown. Wide open is the tight end, Dalton Schultz.
You like that?
You can't include the soundbite in the soundbite. You can't say soundbite in the soundbite.
Easily the winner of the week. Easily the winner of the week. That video. That was fantastic.
I'm charging for my picks from now on.
Oh,
good
I
stuff.
tell you what though, the Red Rocket came out playing, right?
he did.
Same with Alex Smith. What a great.
I doubt it.
What a great
Washington,
story.
I know you've been down on Alex Smith because he hasn't played football in 2 years, just, but that they are on track with the Giants to fight for this division. I don't think it's going to be the Cowboys and us. I think it's going to be Washington and New York.
If you
And
asked me today who likely wins the NFC East, I would tell you the Washington football team, which is embarrassing that a team without a name is going to win the division.
Well, Washington has a tough 4 games. They have Seattle, they have Pittsburgh, Carolina.
Hey, you know who Washington has a better chance against than the Eagles do? Seattle.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for the picks? All right.
Let's do it.
You're doing the Eagles game last, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So starting off, New York against the Bengals.
This is an easy one for me, buddy. Joe Burrow's gone. I don't see any way that this Bengals team rallies around another guy. I think that much like the Dallas Cowboys ran into a dumpster fire of a season when their leader went down, the Bengals are going to be in the same position. I don't think 6 points is enough. I think this is probably a soul-crushing defeat because I don't know how the Bengals are going to score points without Joe Burrow, bro. I just don't know. New York Giants -6, and just because I've got no Joe Burrow and an okay Giants team, I'm going to go under.
Yeah, they're going to struggle to put up points against the Giants. This isn't a bad defense over there in New York right now. And if they can limit the turnovers on the offensive side of the ball, they're going to beat some good teams, let alone a team that, was 3-7 with Joe Burrow at their quarterback, now having to go to their backups. I like the Giants' defense against this Bengals offense without Burrow. I like the offense to put up points against the Bengals defense that hasn't been very good all year. And the Giants are in a position right now where they have to start believing in what they're doing because they're in a position to take this division. They have really something to play for, whereas the Bengals do not. And I think it kind of deflates a team for the rest of the season after you see your stud rookie quarterback go out that's really been carrying you to your only wins this year. I like the Giants by a touchdown to 10 points in this game.
We have Dolphins-Jets up next.
You like the Jets.
Wait till you get to my turn.
Right,
Go ahead.
To Justin's point, whether you like to or not, he's not playing this week. It's going to be Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick does these things where he goes on these runs at the end of the year. Tua's going to be back in next week, so that doesn't really matter, but I like him to be able to come in. He's been itching to play again. He got benched at a time where he didn't really want to get benched. I know the Jets are due for some kind of win at some point. I really don't think they're going to go 0-16. They have been playing better. But to take the Jets against a team that's really competing for the East at this point, I don't see it happening. I like the Dolphins by at least 7 points in this game, probably closer to 10.
Jeff, I'm going to need you to do one favor for me. I need you to put Aaron's face up big for the first statement that I'm going to make. I want to see his reaction, and then I'm going to come back. Are you ready?
They're not going to win.
The New York Jets win this game outright in the upset of the week. I can come back now, Jeff. Put me back on. All right, so listen. Your logic, again, like I told you, this is your logic. The Jets are not going to win, not going to lose to every single division rival twice in a season. It's not going to happen. I know Tua is out, and I know Fitz is coming back, and I know that this team still looks good with Fitz. But what we do know about Ryan Fitzpatrick is when he comes back into a team, there's usually a game or two warm up back into the game he had before. I don't think that this is a very big win for the Jets. I think the Dolphins are going to struggle to score in this game, and that's the reason why I think the Jets have a chance at winning this game outright. I'm going to say upset of the week and the Jets win outright. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable, but I had to pick one, and this was the one that was just too easy to me. I can't pick I can't. We'll talk about Monday night's game. That just doesn't. I can't do it. This is the upset of the week to me. I think the Jets have one chance to win one game this season, and having a team as hot as Miami have their starter go down, who was the stud rookie, bringing in the 25-year journeyman back, who struggles when he comes back into the lineup. Everything is lining up for the Jets to win this game. Will they? I hope so, because I just said that they would. Can they? Sure, but I don't know that they will. But I'll take my 7 points. I don't think this is a big win if Miami pulls it off. I'll take my 7 points, and I'm going to go under because I don't see either one of these teams scoring many points.
Next up, Raiders-Falcons.
This was an easy one for me, man. You take the team that's better. I mean, I see Derek Carr playing at a Pro Bowl level. I see Nelson Aguilar making catches that he never could have dreamed to make in Philadelphia. I see a running game that is solid. I see John Gruden making all the cylinders fire finally. And Atlanta is just a sad, sorry team that's just kind of hanging around. I mean, they look good for a minute, and then they get their teeth smashed in the next half. 3 points is not enough. I think that's why this was so easy for me. If this were a 6-point spread, I may have thought Atlanta a little bit because they're at home. I got to go Raiders -3, dude. This is not even close to the level of ability on either side of the football. The Raiders are better every single facet of every single part of a football team than the Atlanta Falcons are. It's that simple to me. I'm going to go Raiders -3, and I'll go over because I think both offenses score.
Yeah, I agree with you except for the over. I'm going under, and the only reason I'm going under is because Julio Jones and Todd Gurley are not going to play today. Those are the guys that score touchdowns for that team. Oakland is, like you said, better at every Las Vegas, every facet of football, especially when the Falcons are out, some of their top skill guys. The Raiders lost to Kansas City in a close game at the end of the game last week. They're going to be fired up to play. I don't really care that they have to travel to the other side of the country to play the Falcons. This is just not a good look. It's a hungry Raiders team that's still competing for a playoff spot against a Falcons team without their two top skill players. I like this to be under because I think actually the Falcons are going to have trouble scoring today, but easy pick. I don't know if I'll go as far as my lock of the week, but I'm not sure what I would pick over this game if I was a betting guy. But I like the Raiders by a lot. I think it's going to be under, but I think it's going to be like 24-10 or something like that. I don't see the Falcons being able to score that much.
What do we think about the Chargers-Bills?
Yeah, so this kind of fits in my line, depending on how the Miami game goes, of how the division over there is going to play out. So if the Bills lose this game and Miami wins that game, they are going to be neck and neck. Look, the Bills looked a lot different at the beginning of the year than they have to this point towards the end of the year. And I just feel like the Chargers, they're a bad team, but they do come out and they play well against better opponents. And I think realistically, they could upset the Bills in this game. I'm not going to go as far as saying that, but I like it to be a field goal to a 4-point game, like a 24-20 game or something like that. I'm going to go with the under on this, and I like the Chargers and Justin Herbert.
You almost stole my thunder there, Ron. So I'm going to make a call on the score of this game. This game is going to be won 28-24 by the Bills in the 11th hour of this game. And my 5 points will carry me over to keep the Chargers in a win in the over. The Bills are playing for the division. Tua went down. This is a chance where Josh Allen can put this team on his back and win a division. You and I disagree. You think Miami is the team to beat in that division. I think it's Buffalo. This is the week. This is the week. I don't like the 5 points. I don't know that the Bills are good enough to beat a quarterback like Justin Herbert by 5 points. I'm calling a final score of 28-24. Bills win. And obviously that makes it in the over. But yeah, give me the 5 points because I don't think it's going to be more than 3 or 4.
If the Bills lose and Miami wins, they're tied in the AFC East.
I know. If the Bills lose and Miami wins, Miami has a clear pathway to this division.
I always look for a spot to go against you too. I would take the Bills. They're gonna crush the Chargers this week. Yep.
So?
Yep.
I'm gonna write that down. Jeff says crush.
How about the Browns, Jaguars?
Oh, the Jaguars are atrocious, dude. They're just they are, and not by far. Like it's pretty close. They're the second worst team in football to the New York Jets. They're just awful. I think Cleveland's doing some good things. I don't say this just because they beat my Philadelphia Eagles last week. You've got two really friggin' good running backs. Baker, as a game manager, as long as he doesn't give the ball away, is able to get through wins. Much to the Raiders score that you gave, Aaron. I think this is a 24-10, 28-13. I don't think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are scoring the ball much. I didn't see if Myles Garrett was back this week. I don't think it matters after what they just did to the Eagles last week without him. I think that they showed they can still play football. 6.5, dude. I think this is at least a 10-point game. I don't like either of the offenses tremendously, so I'm going to stay under. But I think it could be a 24-10, something like that, similar to your Raiders prediction. I can't pick. The Jaguars could have gotten 12 this week, and I can't pick them, dude. I just can't do it.
Yeah, there isn't really a line this week that would make me take the points in the Jaguars. So Mike Glennon is starting for the Jaguars today. He's a guy that's been a third stringer pretty much everywhere because he just has no confidence. I mean, I used to see him on what was that show, Hard Knocks, when they were doing like training camps with certain teams, and like the coaches hated Mike Glennon. He was just on the team to fill a roster spot and run the practice squad. So they're going to have trouble putting up points. Myles Garrett is back, but Denzel Ward's out. It doesn't really matter if your corner's out, if you have a quarterback that can't throw the football. The Browns aren't overly impressive to me, but what's impressive is that even on days that they're not impressive, they find a way to win football games. I don't think this game's going to be close. I don't think the Jaguars are going to score more than 7 to 10 points if they're lucky. I think the Browns can put up at least 20 on a team like the Jaguars. I do like the under because the Browns haven't really showed me that they're going to put up a ton of points week after week, but I just don't think the Jags are going to put up any. So I like the Browns and the under. Good boy.
Cardinals, Patriots.
This is my upset of the week, and I will tell you why. So we know.
Question before you talk.
Yeah.
You picked the Arizona Cardinals, and they're favored to win. How the fuck is that the upset?
Because I think they're going to win outright. I don't think they need the points.
They're not getting points.
Oh, this is a reverse line?
Yeah, reverse line.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you reversed the lines.
Okay.
Wait,
Go
no.
ahead.
Did you reverse the lines? Hold on.
Let me double check.
I just heard you say upset when you got a team that's favored and got a little.
You have the
I read this wrong. I was trying to justify a pick. All right, hold on one second. I'm surprised. Okay, this fucked me up because you just picked the Patriots over the Cardinals. Okay, confused me because I really thought my name was on the bottom here and forgot who I picked. All right,
right. I think I reversed the
right.
name.
So, did you reverse the name? Who picked who? We got to get this clear. This is something I would pick and you would reverse. So I'm really confused right now.
So I reversed the names. You have the Pats, Aaron.
I have the Cardinals.
You have the Cardinals. Yeah.
Okay. I thought something was wrong.
I understand why it's an upset. Go ahead.
But if you want to try to make each other's arguments, that would be interesting.
I had to double check. I was like, no, all right. So this is my upset of the week. So we know that Bill Belichick can take away whatever the other team does best. What the Cardinals do best is they let Kyler Murray kind of run around, do his thing, and then if he gets in trouble, he throws the ball up to DeAndre Hopkins, who somehow every time seems to come down with the football. I just like the Patriots in this spot. I think, the Patriots have already won more games than we thought they were going to win. So we have to give them a little credit. They had about 10 to 15 guys that tapped out before the season started because of COVID. They have a brand new quarterback. They let Tom Brady go. It's a team with something to prove. And the Cardinals have gotten lucky over and over in these tight games where they just come out with these wins. When it comes down to it, Arizona is not as good as a football team, Justin, as we expected them to be at the beginning of the year. We thought they were going to have a very good season. Kyler Murray was going to be an MVP. They're not playing horribly, but they're coming out with these gross wins on these lines and betting wins and whatever you want to call it against these teams that realistically they should be beating by 10 to 15 points with all the talent on that Cardinals team. I think Bill Belichick is just going to outcoach the Cardinals in this game, and I think the Patriots are going to win this game outright.
I'm not sure, but I don't think you sold Justin on this.
Jeff, listen, if this game goes the way that it should, which is Arizona winning by at least 7, I'm going to need you to go back. I'll help you out. I'll go try to tag the times. I think I've heard 5 times in the last 6 weeks that Aaron's no longer picking the Patriots. I'm off the Patriots train. I got a text message when I was out at dinner for my wife's birthday.
I don't love the Cardinals. I just don't love the Cardinals.
This isn't even fucking close, dude. Other than Bill Belichick, can you give me one position or one thing that the New England Patriots are better at than Arizona? Don't worry, I'll wait. You can. Other than Bill Belichick and coaching.
I can't. That's what I'm picking. It's a 4-6 team and a 6-4 team, but it's not that.
Who wins football games? Players win football games. Coaches scheme football games. but players win football games. This is atrocious. I'm not even responding to half the shit that you said. Arizona's going to win this game by at least 6. New England is a burnt team. Half the team quit on Bill Belichick at the beginning of the season because Tom Brady didn't want to come back.
They did it. They're 4-6.
Half of the team opted out for the Rona. You just said, bro. Stop.
You said they quit on Bill Belichick. That's different.
I let you say all your crazy shit. Half the team opted out because Tom Brady left, and they knew that they were going to be trash and probably not make 500. You don't have any better position players than Arizona does. You don't have the better quarterback. You don't have the better receivers. You don't have the better skill positions. Mm-hmm. This is simple. This is easy. Arizona minus 1.5 in the under because Arizona isn't as impressive as we thought. I will admit that out loud also. We picked Kyler Murray as an MVP candidate. Obviously, we were a little bit wrong, but this isn't even close, dude. That 1.5 point line should be 4.5. But because it's in New England and it's Bill Belichick, we think that he could coach and scheme and stop, dude. No way. They don't have the players to stop that offense, period. Minus 1.5 Arizona in the under. Next game.
Going into New England is rough, man.
Fucking New England.
Going into New England from Arizona is rough, bud. It's not easy.
This might be the most interesting game of the year. And I have to preface this because when the news broke about Denver not having a single quarterback on the roster that could suit up for this game, I texted Justin and I was like, "Dude, you might want to look at your pick again." He's like, "Nope, Taysom Hill is horrible, more horrible than a rookie wide receiver practice squad player playing quarterback."
No. So let me justify.
I know where you're going with this.
So let me justify. You see that the over under is 36.5, right? You know that New Orleans in half their games have scored 36.5 themselves. So this is you want to talk about trap game, which we're going to get into when we get to Monday night, Ron. This is a fucking trap. I know that it's a wide receiver who played quarterback in high school that's throwing a football. I know that it's Taysom Hill on the other side, but here's what's going to happen. Denver's going to try to run the football, and so is New Orleans. Because right now, New Orleans can reserve back any injury risk that they've got to any of their position guys because they're playing against a high school quarterback. They don't need to go out and crush the Denver Broncos. They're not going to. This is a 7 to 10 point game. New Orleans is going to win. There is no doubt in my mind about that. And it would be fantastic if next week's video montage is the Denver Broncos with a wide receiver beating the New Orleans Saints, and I got to sit here and eat that crow. That would be fantastic. But this is just a trap to me, bro. This is going to be a 20 to 10, 20 to 12. Denver's going to kick a shitload of field goals. They're going to try to run the ball, and New Orleans is going to do the same thing in reverse because they don't want to put their players at risk against a high school quarterback that is now a wide receiver. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for a team that's attempting a playoff run that wants to go deep once Drew Brees comes back to risk anybody else on that field, offensively or defensively. It's that simple to me. So 15.5 points. How do you say no? They're not going to score that much. I think it's a 20 to 10 game, bro. And a 10-point game, I'm going to take 15.5, and I'm going to hope that I'm right. And hopefully, for the sake of sanity, we come on next week and Aaron gets to make fun of me for picking the Denver Broncos with a wide receiver or quarterback. Because if I'm right about this, fuck 2020 is all I'm saying.
Listen, the logic makes sense, Justin. So I'm going to give you benefit of the doubt regardless of how this game goes. Because anytime you see an over-under of 36.5 and a 15.5 point spread, you take the points, okay? The problem is I don't think the Broncos are going to be able to score at all. So whatever New Orleans does is if they score 21 points, it could be a 21-3 game. The other problem I have is that, the Broncos with a backup quarterback, regardless of how bad you think Taysom Hill is or whether, Jameis Winston comes in and plays, they're going to put up enough points. They're going to score 20, 24 points. If you're going to tell me that they're out all of their quarterbacks, you're going to tell me that the Broncos can go up and down the field twice, I'm going to be surprised if they can do that. There's going to have to be trick plays and wildcat. You're handing off the football. If you have to throw it, you get maybe one throw on a trick play before the next two are intercepted. There's just no shot that I think, not to mention the Broncos are going to be 3-and-out all game. So New Orleans is going to get the football a lot. They're not going to be able to sustain drive. They're not going to convert on third down. By the end of the game, as good as that Broncos defense can be sometimes, they're going to have been on the field for 45 minutes. So even if it's close at the end of the game, I can see the Saints kind of pulling away in the fourth quarter, 17, 20, 24-point game. I just don't see how in any way, shape, or form with Sean Payton's play calling, this Broncos team is going to be able to put up points. So even if it goes under, it's going to be something like 24-3. It's going to be a fucking disaster. Just wait and watch this game.
We're going to see.
This is so interesting. I have to get in on this discussion because think about Tim Tebow quarterbacking the Broncos and how terrible that looked for 3.5 quarters every game. I imagine that's kind of what the offense is going to look like, only this guy hasn't practiced with the first team at all, and he's never played quarterback in the NFL, so it's going to be like even worse. But I can see both sides of this. It's so interesting because I think that the Broncos do score a touchdown on some ridiculous play because you got to figure the Saints are going to be loading up the box with 11, not 8, 11 people every single play. They're bound to get caught off guard for one play. But at the same time, you're right. There's no way that they can sustain a drive. This defense is going to be on maybe on the field for 55 minutes, not even 50.
Here's my thing, dude. I think that the over under is telling. What that if Drew Brees was in this game, is the over under 36.5, Aaron? No way, right?
No.
The over under is going to be low, but it's going to be like 44.5. 36.5 with a 15.5 point spread. That is monstrous. The line is telling.
17-0. I don't know, but
as we've said countless times, Vegas gets paid millions of dollars for a reason. There's something about this game that they're seeing that we aren't. And again, if the over/under was 46, I'd take the Saints to cover. The over/under being 36.5 tells me that the game plan is shaping up to be pound and ground with New Orleans as well as Denver, because Denver don't have nobody to throw the freaking ball. But 15.5 points at a 36.5 point over/under, it's too many points. The logic makes sense on both sides. This is a coin flip to me, bro. I'm throwing it up in the air and hoping I'm right.
Is this game on? Is this game on TV?
It's got to be now. It has to be on TV now.
This is going to pierce my bold prediction.
The Saints are going to be on the whole game, and if they can't put up 24 to 30 points, that's just a bad day from Sean Payton.
If this game's on national TV, I predict that this is the highest rated game this season.
I would believe you. I'd agree.
All right. Next up is Chicago, Green Bay.
See, I told you I listened.
It's just one of those smash mouth games that, so first of all, there's an X factor here, and the X factor is that Nick Foles is not playing in this game, and Mitch Trubisky is. Mitch Trubisky is significantly better than Nick Foles, but I think in an age where the quarterback can get outside the pocket, scramble, and kind of create on the fly, any offense in the NFL than a 30-year-old pocket passer quarterback who hasn't shown to be able to win jobs anywhere he's gone. I like the Bears to be able to hold, pretty low offensively. I like Mr. Trubisky to be able to score a couple touchdowns, even if they don't put up, 20. I'd like them to put up 17 to 21 against the Packers defense that really hasn't been that good all year and hasn't gotten to the quarterback the way they did last year. 8.5 points is too much, as we use the logic with a 44-point spread. And I actually like this game possibly to go over, but I like the Bears to actually put up some points on this game outright, which Mitch Trubisky kind of coming back in and having something to prove, playing for a contract for next year, and take off Nick Foles a little bit and kind of take the lead in that starting quarterback spot. He hasn't shown me at any point in his NFL career that he has any balls to do that, but I still like him in this offense better than I like Nick Foles. I think this could be an upset.
Aaron, your internet's cutting in and out. I don't know if you want to try and go out and come back in while Justin.
Yeah, I'll leave and come back.
Holy shit balls, Batman. I need a second. Thank God he went in and out. He said that Chicago could win this game.
He did say that, yes.
I can't. Listen, I'm not. I'm adjusting my Green Bay. I don't want to call it love. I don't love Green Bay. I'm adjusting my outlook on Green Bay week by week. Aaron Rodgers is not losing to Mitchell Trubisky by 8.5 points. I struggled with this game because I thought that Aaron Rodgers could win this, right? That's Justin last week. Then I watched Aaron Rodgers lay another egg. And I don't know that Aaron Rodgers can beat anybody by 8.5 points now. So there's no way. It's the craziest thing that I could think is that Chicago has a chance to win this game outright. I don't see it. 8.5 points is too much for what I have seen from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback he was 5 years ago that crushes bad teams. The over-under is low. I just think that this is probably a 4 to a 5 point win. Aaron Rodgers is probably never in doubt throughout the game, but Chicago's going to score in trash time. Mitch Trubisky is going to give a little bit of spark to that offense. There's no chance Chicago wins this game. Zero. Absolutely none. Not a 1% chance that Chicago beats Green Bay. But I think they'll cover that line. I think it's a 4 or 5 point game. I'm going to take Chicago 8.5, and I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I like the over too. Kansas City, Tampa Bay.
This is the easiest game of the week. Tell me why I should think Tom Brady's not going to get his teeth kicked in by Kansas City. Tell me why. I know their defense is overachieved. They're the third or fourth best defense in the league. Listen, motherfucker, that's Patrick Mahomes on the other side. I don't give a shit how good your defense is rated. I don't care about how well you've done against other quarterbacks. This is Patrick Mahomes. This is a 14-point romping by Andy Reid in Kansas City to show Tom Brady that even though he's on another team with another set of skill positions that are way better than New England, you're not fucking beating us. This is not a close game. This is going to go way over. I think this is going to be like a 45 to 31. It's going to be a race at the beginning. They're going to go possession for possession, and then Kansas City's going to take over this game, dude. It's going to go way over. Kansas City wins by at least 7. Easy game, easy pick for me. Kansas City -3 in the over.
Tom Brady, Wayne Brady, Brady Quinn, Kansas City by 14. By 14.
Easy.
Look, it is there's not an NFL that you more confidently pick than the Kansas City Chiefs against just about anybody. Oakland's a division game. You kind of expect that to go another team's way at some point in the season. I'm not sure if Kansas City's going to lose the rest of the year. If they do lose another game, it might be to someone like Tom Brady. But, they're not on Brady, but it's, 22 or 23 straight deep ball passes that he's missed. If you think they're not going to load the box and make this guy beat them deep, I don't care if Allen's there. I don't care if Mike Evans there. I don't care if Chris Godwin's there.
Oh, did we lose
you?
him?
Fit.
There he is. Nope, lost him again.
Bruce Arians has not developed a scheme to fit Tom Brady at all at any point this season. He's throwing him under the bus every week, it seems like. KC is completely – we talk about great coaches and Bill Belichick and what he takes away. If you don't think Andy Reid's going to be able to go in there and take away whatever it is Brady does best and sit on Brady and take away the passes and make him beat deep, I don't know what people think the outcome of this game is going to be, only giving 3 points. I like KC regardless. They could be behind in the fourth quarter by 10, and I still like them to win by more than 3 points. So KC, 10, 14 points. Even if they're down late in the game, they're going to win by 4 to 7 points. I think 3 points is absolutely a ridiculous spread. I don't like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at all after what I've seen the last couple weeks, and I got to go Kansas City in what I would call the lock of the week at this point.
I might agree with lock of the week.
We have Tennessee at the Colts. We got Aaron's picking late here, so that's why you're only seeing Justin's.
Hey, hold the fuck up. You get to see what I picked before you picked.
I already texted him what I was going to pick.
He did,
and you picked the Colts, right?
Yeah, I picked the Colts. Of course I picked the Colts.
Picked the fucking Colts. Go ahead.
So Tennessee's got a pretty good offense and not a to be very good on the I like the Colts defense.
Yo, turn your video off and try to talk. See if it takes away your choppy audio.
We good?
I hear you.
So Colts are good on both sides of the ball this year. Tennessee is good on one side of the ball this year. They're pretty good on offense and not so great on defense, although I believe Vrabel is just as good as coach as Frank Reich is. Colts have arguably the best defense in the league. I like them to be able to stop Derrick Henry. They play smash mouth football. I also like them on the offensive side of the football against the Tennessee team that has been disappointing this year on the defensive side of the football. This is actually another pretty easy pick to me. I like the Colts at home, giving the 3 points. The Titans played into overtime last week and just beat the Ravens by the skin of their teeth. And I think the Colts are much better than that team is. I like the Colts. I think they have one player out at running back, and I think Hines actually gives them a better receiver out of the backfield. So I do like, again, the Colts over -3 in an easy pick for me. I'm not sure where you're going with this Tennessee pick.
It's simple. Tennessee is better than Green Bay is, and I'm looking at two evenly matched teams. I know Tennessee's not as good on the defensive side of the ball by a hair, but I also know that Indianapolis is not nearly as good on the offensive side of the ball as Tennessee is. Derrick Henry gives me a better chance to win every single week. Ryan Tannehill is a better game manager who's younger with better legs than Phillip Rivers is. This is just, again, this is our classic who has the better quarterback, who has the better team when we have a close line. Tennessee, I think, has a chance to win this game outright. I don't think it's likely, but I think it's close. I am assuming I'm going to push this game. I think it might be a field goal game, and I push. But I can't pick the Colts over the Tennessee Titans. It's that simple, bro. I can't. The Colts are not going to stop Ryan Tannehill's ability for dink and dunk game managing shit and Derrick Henry at the same time. It's just not going to happen.
I read a report that Indianapolis is going to be missing 5 starters due to COVID. So I don't know which 5 starters, but I don't know if that plays into anybody's decision or anything. But if I had to pick the game, I think I would go Tennessee. Here we have Carolina, Minnesota.
This was a difficult one for me, and I also don't see Aaron's name. So why don't you, before I go in, tell me who you picked?
I picked Carolina.
Okay, I thought we would agree on this one. Two very similarly matched teams. I took some of that hatred that we got to see in that clip in the beginning for Kirk Cousins' face from our buddy Jeff, and fuck Kirk Cousins. I just think Carolina's a better coach team, man. It's not that kid came in from the CFL or the XFL or wherever the fuck he played and looked really good last week. I think Carolina is just a better team, and to give me 4.5 points with a better coach and what seems to be a better team. And again, Kirk Cousins is not the guy that shows up in a clutch, man. Stephon Diggs doesn't play for that team anymore. This isn't a team that can win in the 11th hour like it was with who they had before. I know Justin Jefferson seems great. We're gonna have fucking material for years as Eagles fans on what Justin Jefferson is and will be. I just think Carolina has it clicking better right now. And to give me the team that I think is hotter and better and 4.5 points, I'm gonna go Carolina plus 4.5, and I think this game stays under.
So the only reason that Carolina even has the record that they do is because Teddy Bridgewater has been playing great this season. He's back this game. I think CMC is still out. Again, I see 2 evenly matched teams, so I'm getting 2 actually pretty evenly matched quarterbacks, although I'd take Teddy Bridgewater over Kirk Cousins. I know a lot of people don't want to give Kirk Cousins any credit at all, Jeff. But he's actually playing pretty well this year. But Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the better. He is going to be the better quarterback. He's less turnover prone. It's hard to pick against the team.
Whoa! Pause. Did I just hear you tell me that Kirk Cousins is less turnover prone than anybody?
I said Teddy Bridgewater is less turnover prone than Kirk Cousins.
I'm sorry, I zoned out when you were talking about Jeff's hatred for Kirk Cousins, and then messed in my brain. Go ahead.
Teddy turns the ball over less. It's hard to pick a Carolina team who doesn't have a lot of skill players against a team that should be lighting people up with Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson. But at the end of the day, this Minnesota team is really not that good. They get out-coached week in and week out, and there's a reason that their record is what their record is. I like Carolina with the points. It might be a field goal game. It was actually a hard game for me to pick. I don't love this game. I wouldn't bet it if I was a bettor, but I have to go with Carolina just based on how well they've been coached and Teddy Bridgewater being back at quarterback.
There is no more of an expert in football on Kirk Cousins than me. I watched him flail around in Washington. He throws a beautiful ball. His stats look great at times, But you're right. He's not clutch. I watched him lose a game to the pathetic New York Giants. And if they would have won, they would have gotten to the playoffs. All they had to do was beat a team that was beat by everybody handily that year. So I agree everything you said about Kirk Cousins. However, and this hurts me to say, I look for spots to go against you guys. Vikings destroy the Panthers this week.
Okay.
They were embarrassed by the Cowboys, and then Kirk watched his old team destroy that Cowboys team that beat them. And let me say too, it's hard for me to praise Washington in anything. Thank God they did not give this guy $36 million a year. At $20 million a year, if they would have signed him for $20 million a year and they could have put more people around him, absolutely. But $30-something million a year, fuck that.
Yeah.
And then how about possibly the second most interesting game this week? Ravens, Steelers. I changed the line for you guys because this one changed big time too.
My name's wrong.
Is it?
Yep, I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, you did, yeah.
And it was 6 when I picked, but I'll still stay at 9. Aaron again with no fucking pick on the screen because you took your time this week.
This line changed a lot, which is why
this line's 15, and I'll still take the Steelers. You got top 2 defense in the NFL against the team whose entire identity
is up to 15 right now. Is that what you just told me?
It's at 15, yeah. This entire Ravens team identity is based on packages with Lamar Jackson that they can run the football. Now, luckily, they have a backup quarterback who has similarities, but isn't anywhere as good as Lamar Jackson is at anything. And Lamar Jackson is not a great passer of the football. And Robert Griffin is worse than Lamar Jackson is. He's worse at passing the football, and he's worse at running the football. 15 points, 17 points, 12 points. I really don't care. They have, I think, 10 or 15, somewhere between 10 and 15 guys. I think it's 15 now out with COVID. That's basically one whole side of your offense or defense, whichever one you feel like picking. There's starters out everywhere. You don't have your quarterback who you've schemed around the last 2 years. It's an easy Steelers pick for me. If the Ravens come within 10 to 12 points of the Steelers, hats off to the Ravens, but I don't think this game is going to be a blowout. Even though the over-under is only 41, I like it to be something like 30-10. I don't know what it's going to end up being, but it's going to be something like that.
Pittsburgh 34, Baltimore 13. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah.
So FanDuel still has the line at 10. You're saying you have it at 15, Aaron?
MGM has it at 15. It's probably based on who's betting where, and I'm sure there's more people betting on FanDuel that might be moving the line. I don't know what it is right now.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Take it from 9.5 to 17.5. The Steelers are going to win the
Steelers anyway. Yeah.
You think they're going to cover no matter what the line is?
No matter what.
Remember, was it last week or a couple weeks I joked about Jackson getting hurt, RG3 coming in and winning by 2 touchdowns?
Is that this week?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think they're going to win, but RG3 comes in and covers a 15-point spread.
No fucking way, dude.
Look, they're saying that they moved the game to Tuesday, and most of those 18 players are going to be back.
Well, they have certain protocol. Half those 15 players got tested positive yesterday. That's not enough time to get most of them back.
Yeah, you can't get them back on Tuesday.
This is the problem with Denver. This is why Denver couldn't get a quarterback, because it's not that they tested positive. Contact tracing kept Denver's quarterbacks out. All 4 of their quarterbacks didn't test positive. One did, and they saw through contact tracing that all 3 other quarterbacks were within 6 feet of that infected quarterback. So now they're yanked out.
I understand that. But if you're saying half of these players tested positive recently, the other half are going to be within their 10-day quarantine period. They're coming back. So it's not 18 players that they're going to be missing.
Jeff, you're trying to convince me to bet on the back of Robert Griffin III.
I'm telling you, gut feeling.
Oh, dude, I hope your gut's fucking wrong. If I'm wrong about this game, I quit football.
And let me tell you, I'm watching RG3. I'm watching this game.
Next.
That's it. We have the Eagles game next. So do you want to do the Eagles game now?
Let's do this. Let's take a quick break so we get our little break in here. We'll come back and we'll do 25 on the Eagles.
Got a little
Oh, I get to go first. I like this.
Hmm.
All right.
I think we're both going to agree on this one, AA Ron. Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. So look, we had that fucking war on your Facebook post with these people who believe that this is a trap game.
Unbelievable.
Up until that article that you sent me this morning, I had a whole set of reason behind why it's not a trap game, but we'll get into that article also.
Yeah.
Reason A, and most importantly, and what people need to understand is, if you are around Philadelphia, you're hearing what's happening in this franchise. The owner who attends every single game and every single practice is not attending a game in Cleveland. And I know that we heard, it's because he was going to see his mom, who's like 127, and the Rona's still bad. Shut the fuck. He has a private jet. Give me
this guy owns he's $1 billion franchise.
Give me a fucking break that he couldn't be safe. That's fucking stupid. Number one. Leaving practice, getting into arguments with Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman on the practice field in the office and storming out. This is a team on the verge of collapse. And it hurts me to say it because they're my Philadelphia Eagles. But this is where we are. Carson Wentz was the wrong investment, period. They did not invest in the right wide receivers. Now we've got Alshon Jeffrey getting paid $20 million a year, ruining receiver after receiver that we bring into this franchise. There's 1,000 reasons why this is a problem. But number one, and honestly the only thing here is, if you can make an eloquent argument to me how you're going to tell me that Russell Wilson is not going to outplay Carson Wentz, then I'll give you the trap. But it's not a fucking trap. Go ahead, bro.
All right. So, again, this was my bet the house game, almost lock of the week. I can give you a couple locks of the week, but the bottom line is the Eagles, the best part of this team, the one that's executing sometimes, and because the offense isn't executing any of the time, the part of the team that's executing sometimes is the defensive line. The reason the defensive line can execute is because they're bigger, stronger, faster, can get to the quarterback. It's really hard to bring down Russell Wilson. We've played the guy a couple times over the last couple years. You think you have him, you don't have him. He gets out of the pocket. And then once he gets outside the pocket, DK Metcalf's on one side, Tyler Lockett's on the other side. I think Chris Carson is playing. The secondary has been awful all year. It hasn't. Darius Slay locks down one side of the field. I'm telling you right now, he's not going to be able to lock down DK Metcalf. So to think that,
hey bro, right quick. Do you know what Russell Wilson's record against the Philadelphia Football Eagles is?
5-1.
Counting the playoffs, he's 5-0.
Yeah. So
Russell Wilson as a starter has never lost to the Philadelphia Eagles.
So the argument I'm hearing is that the Eagles play Seattle close, and I'll give you that. Most years, when the Eagles look like a good football team, they do play Seattle close. This is a bad football team. Everybody in Philadelphia needs to kind of get this through their head. They think the Eagles are going to rattle off wins at the end of this year. I've been confident just about every year that the Eagles are going to find a way to rattle off a couple of wins and somehow make the playoffs. The whole football team is in disarray. Carson Wentz, the years that we think they're going to rattle off games, has been a top 10 quarterback in the league. He's been the worst quarterback in football outside of maybe one or two guys this year. He has more turnovers than anybody. You're going to turn the ball over. You're going to give Russell Wilson 1 million shots to get into the end zone. And then you want to think the defense is going to slow down Seattle. They're not. This is one of the best offenses in the NFL. And then your offense can't sustain drives. They can't convert on third down, and they can't score the football. They get down on the first drive to the 5-yard line, and Miles Sanders fumbles last week. Doug Peterson has lost this.
That's for a second, bro. I don't mean to interrupt you. I know we're both picking the Seahawks for a reason. That Miles Sanders fumbles the football. Do you know why? Miles Sanders has never been given more than 18 carries in a game. Miles Sanders has never been relied on as the guy to know if he is the guy. And I'm obviously saying one fumble doesn't make him not the guy. But this is the fucking problem with Doug Peterson. I've been saying it for weeks. Doug Peterson is the crux of the issue here. In 2017, when Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount looked like fucking Pro Bowlers and Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate, this was not Doug Peterson's offense. This was Frank Reich and John DeFilippo's offense with them coaching these offensive players. And there has been no further proof than what Chicago has been able to get out of their quarterbacks with John DeFilippo and what Frank Reich has been able to do with the Indianapolis Colts. This is simple. And I'm fucking tired of hearing that it's Jim Schwartz and the defense, as you just laid out. The only fucking part of this team that has played at all this season is the fucking defense. Not that Jim Schwartz is a great coordinator. There's a million things I complain about Jim Schwartz. But you know what he does? His fucking players show up. And you're trying to tell me that Jim Schwartz is a bigger problem than Doug Peterson. When Doug Peterson can't get his fucking quarterback to stop turning the ball over, can't get an offense rolling, can't scheme a game plan for a guy like Miles Sanders, who's a dual threat running back. This is the problem. They don't see the issue. That's what it is.
Yeah, somebody needs to lay out for me exactly what the Eagles are going to do to even keep this game within 5 points. Because there's nothing that I've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles that would guide me to think with the losses to the Browns and the losses to the Giants. They lost to the Giants by 10. Seattle is a much better, much more skilled football team than the New York Giants are. We've lost games this year we shouldn't have lost. Even when we lose to good teams and we start coming back at the end, like we lost to the Steelers when we started coming back by 9. So to think that even like Seattle gets out and we start to mount a comeback, that we're still not going to turn the ball over at the end of the game, or Russell Wilson's not going to be able to march downfield and ice the game with a field goal to go up 9. There's no way that anybody can tell me that the Eagles are going to keep this game within 5 points. This is an easy game for me. Justin, let's get into the issues that we're hearing about with not just Doug Peterson, but it also looked like an article came out, and I'll find it here, that Doug Peterson is kind of relishing at the idea of coaching for another team. On top of that, it looks like we're going to see more Jalen Hurts this week. And on top of that, when he was asked in his press conference about who's going to be the starting quarterback this week, usually it's Carson, it's always going to be Carson. This week there was about a 4-second hesitation, and he said, "No, we're not going to change our quarterback on a Wednesday." That's what he said. That was the quote.
Yeah, dude, listen, I mean, it's an obvious to me what happened in that. And I was talking to my boss at work about this. I was talking to Luke. I was talking to a couple of people who want to try to convince me that was just Doug being tired of the question. So he just got frustrated and said something. And I don't see it that way, bro. I listened to that clip at least a dozen times. And it's very clear to me that he was asked the question and wasn't prepared for it, but wasn't prepared for the timing of it, and honesty snuck out. Doug Peterson comes from the Andy Reid coaching tree. He knows how to handle questions from the media and not give any information at all and sound like he's answering the question. Doug's been very good at this since he took over this franchise. That was a moment of honesty slipping out of his mouth that as soon as it came out, you saw him go, "Oh, give it back. I didn't want to say that." And then quick backs into, no, Carson's the guy. Carson's our guy. He's our starter.
Yeah.
There's so much turmoil around this team right now because, again, how do you put Jalen Hurts in without admitting, even if you don't say it, by action, that you made a $120 million mistake, that Carson Wentz is the problem? Because if you go into the offseason where Carson Wentz might struggle and have highlight moments from here to the end of the season, you might be able to get a second or third round draft pick for that guy to have somebody eat that contract and take a giant cap hit. But you've got a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal to be able to make that money make sense. You can't do that if you bench Carson Wentz midway through the year. He's not Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's not a journeyman that is going to bounce around the league no matter where he goes. He's supposed to be a franchise quarterback. He's a second overall draft pick. You cannot make that decision without reason and cause. And the only way you get reason and cause is you put Jalen Hurts on the practice field with the first team and you see what you've got. And the reason why they won't do that is because the media is the only people that have access to that practice now. And they're going to twist it, and they're going to bend it, and they're going to say it's Jalen Hurts. The Eagles just won't make that move. Doug Peterson's not confident enough to make that move. So the article that you sent me that he's going to be involved in more plays is very promising without Carson Wentz on the field, which now means that you actually have the dual threat of Jalen Hurts being a passing quarterback or a running quarterback at your disposal. If Carson Wentz is on the field, it's Jalen Hurts keeping the ball. Every single fucking time. Yeah. Time in, time out, time again. Ever since week 2, it's what we've seen. Having Carson sit and put Jalen Hurts in by himself gives Jalen Hurts the ability to read a field and see what he wants to do and throw or run. And it gives you that threat where now defenses have to play honest.
When it gives the coaches a way to evaluate him too, right? I mean, so if you're allowing Wentz to now come off the field and Jalen Hurts to actually make reads and throw the football around, I mean, let's just let's sit in a world real quick where Jalen comes in for 13 plays and Wentz is off the field for 10 of them, and let's say they let him throw the ball 5 times. If he goes 3 for 5 or 4 for 5, but the offense seems like they had a little spark and there's some big plays going on, you can bet your ass that they're going to be calling for Carson Wentz's job, and you don't put Carson Wentz in that position if you feel like he's the guy moving forward. You just keep him on the field and you let Jalen Hurts kind of sit. But the fact that they're willing to give him more plays without Carson Wentz on the field and possibly allow him to throw the football and spark an offense a little more than just running a wildcat tells you that if they see something from Jalen Hurts that they really like in the reads that he's making, Carson's going to have to now watch his back. And he's already shown that he does not have the ability to feel like he has someone behind him watching his every move because he's underperformed all year. Doug Peterson is also coaching at this point for his next job. So we're going to see, because they're not going to rattle off 4 or 5 games. So you have to coach for your next job. You have to try to win football games. I don't want to see them win football games because I like to see them get a high draft pick because there's nothing that they're going to do in the playoffs if they even make it. So any Eagles fan, I know you want to win football games, but you need to be rooting for them to lose football games. It's not going to look any better than it has been. That's why Jeffrey Lurie is walking out of games and practices. He doesn't like what he's seeing. He thinks it's atrocious. There's nothing good that you can take out of your owner being so pissed off that he doesn't attend your football games. So
yeah,
there's
I
going to be
agree,
some
bro.
big
But let's
changes.
talk about real quick. Let's discuss how losing out is right. We both agree with that. We're both in that same camp. A higher draft pick is better than being fucking 6, 9, and 1, whatever they end up, and making the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. They're not going to do anything. But how valuable is that draft pick when Howie Roseman's the guy making it? How valuable is that draft pick when it's Doug Peterson and the fucking 37 offensive passing running coordinator fucking people, whatever his offense has? How good is that draft pick to you as a franchise when they're still the guys? So for me, if all of these reports about Jeff Lurie basically putting on, I mean, Jeff Lurie kind of laid it out there from what I'm reading. I've seen it from Ian Rappaport. I've seen it from Jeff McClain. I've seen it from a lot of guys where Jeff Lurie is basically laid out, come January, this whole fucking thing is blowing up. There's serious changes coming. So if Jeff Lurie is going to be able to make a decision on a better GM, a better head coach, and a better staff, absolutely, I want the top 8 pick 1,000 times out of 1,000. But if Jeff Lurie is going to prove forward like he has with Howie, like he did with Joe Banner, like he did with Andy Reid, like he has with Doug Peterson, like he has with Jim Schwartz, where he continues to hold people years past their use for us, I don't think that I get anything better out of a higher draft pick because these fucking boobs are making it. Like we talked about Jalen Reagor, right? We liked Reagor. We were high on Reagor. Reagor is a Tyreek Hill build who's a guy that can be fast, a little bit undersized, but he's got good physicality.
I'm impressed with what I've seen from him when they get him.
No doubt. And I'm not, this isn't a knock on Jalen Reagor, but this is proof positive of what win now means. Kirk Cousins got a year left on that deal. Minnesota's trying to find their next quarterback. There's a million things going on. What did they take? They took Justin Jefferson, and they were elated about it because Justin Jefferson is an NFL receiver now. He doesn't have any game to build into. He doesn't have any body to build into. He is a right now 85 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns today. And again, I take the ceiling of Reagor because I had the ceiling of Wentz. Losing Carson Wentz shows you another decision that this staff, this medical staff, this scouting team, they decided that Carson was still the guy and took a receiver to build with him. And look at where the fuck we are.
You bring me to another point, though, and you made a good point there. There was an article that came out, I think it was Jeff McClain, that said he was trying to tally up how many more wins the Eagles would have if they had DK Metcalf. And my answer, and I don't know how it plays out last year or how it plays out last year at all because we had a better football team. I can tell you that the answer this year is none because Carson is missing wide open guys. He's not. You could have Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins on one side, and Tyreek Hill on the other side, and you're not going to get much production out of these guys because Carson Wentz can't find the open receiver. He can't make pre-snap reads. They aren't tailoring the offense to his strength. It doesn't matter who you have on the football field. So I know. And I get it.
Pause right there for 1 second. This brings me to the second round, right? So when we're talking about taking Jalen Hurts over J.K. Dobbins, right? Because you're telling me Doug Peterson has shown us that Carson Wentz is his horse. He does not want Miles Sanders having 25 runs a game because for whatever reason, this staff doesn't believe that's who Miles Sanders is. Fine. I'll listen to you. If that's what you're telling me you see every day, cool, you win. Why the fuck did you draft Jalen Hurts and not J.K. Dobbins? Why did you not take a guy that had impact now in either the first round or the second round when you're trying to convince me that based on a $35 million a year investment, that this is the quarterback, that this is the guy, that this is the team, that this is the defense, that this is the offense? What the fuck are we doing in this? Look at the first thing that Daryl Morey had as the 76ers president of basketball operations was the draft. And look at how well he did not make too many crazy moves. He used a couple of picks to get out of bad contracts. And then on top of that, he drafted the guys that fit the system and were best available at the time. What the fuck happens to this Eagles franchise that given every pick, you get 7 a year to start, and every single one of them is a miss? I'm not even getting into the fucking Danny Watkins, bro. I'm talking about the Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Why do you draft Jalen Hurts to not put him in when Carson struggles? Because there's one logical explanation for why you draft Jalen Hurts in the second round, and it's because you're afraid of either the health or the ability of your star quarterback. And the health is there. He hasn't been hurt. Great. But he's also not playing. So what the fuck did you take that guy for? Why did you waste a second-round draft pick on that guy? And this is why I say those guys in your comments last night, bro. The reason why people say win the division and get to the playoffs is because they have no faith in what these draft picks turn out to be. They could get the number 1 draft pick and have Trevor Lawrence sitting there, who I don't think is that great, but consensus across the world is, and not take the guy that they're supposed to. I hate to say it like this. They draft like the Cleveland Browns. They just make the wrong fucking decision every time there's one in front of them. And where do we go? Jeff Lurie has the worst offseason of his ownership life coming this offseason. This is hope that this was an anomaly season that got real, real bad, or blow this whole fucking thing up and hope the next guys are right, man. That's where they are.
Well, they're missing another point, too, and that point is I'm not interested in seeing another Doug Peterson, Howie Roseman ran offseason. So if we find a way to get into the playoffs, those guys are probably sticking around. So for the sake of all Eagles fans, if you want to see a Doug Peterson and a Howie Roseman gone from the team because you don't think Howie can draft, he's now bad with the cap, and Doug Peterson can't coach a football game, let me tell you something. If they win out and find a way to get into the playoffs just to get knocked out in the first round, those guys are staying. So I don't understand why you could hope and watch this Eagles team every single week be out of position, underprepared, outcoached and outplayed, and look like they don't give a shit and want your coaches and your GM to stay when your owner's walking out of games and practices. It doesn't make any sense to me. Everybody's like, go Birds, it's still my team. I want them to win. It's still my team, and I love them enough to want to see them lose out the rest of the fucking year. And to be honest, there's no chance they win the next 3 games, right? So we're looking at basically Washington and Dallas at the end of the year. Washington's starting to play well, and Dallas is even starting to get it together a little bit. Dallas is actually probably being held back a little more by their coach. Everybody thought Mike McCarthy was going to be the savior. He's an awful head coach. I mean, he's awful. They were on their own 25 last week on 4th and 10, and they ran a fake punt, and they didn't even get a yard, okay? Jason Garrett wouldn't have done that. So it's an atrocious team, and we still might lose to them. So, moving on from that,
Can I ask a question real quick?
Away, buddy.
If you let's say Carson Wentz struggles big time, does Peterson bench him at halftime, give the whole second half to Hurts, and if Hurts plays well, is it his team the rest of the way?
I don't think he benches him at halftime but I could see a scenario where he lets them finish out the game. It doesn't go the way they want, and then Hurts starts next week. There's a reason that Hurts is getting more practice reps with the first team. And I don't – we've talked about this numerous times, Justin. We thought 3 weeks ago it was time to start taking a closer look at what Hurts is doing in practice. But I just don't think they're going to bench anybody at halftime that has a $35 million contract hanging on them.
So there's two ways to look at your question, Jeff. There's the logical way, and then there's the Eagles way. And I know that you're a Washington football team fan for some reason because somebody let you down in youth. But I know that you're also from this area and you've been plugged into the Eagles. So you know that there is a rational, logical, backed up by facts and statistic level of thinking, and then there's what the fucking Eagles do. So logically, yes, if we go into this game and Seattle's up 21-3 at half, you start Jalen Hurts and this is his team until he proves you that it's not. The Eagles' way of doing things is going to be this, and I will die on this fucking mountain until I'm proven wrong, because this is how stupid Doug Peterson is to my brain. This is what he's shown me. If we're down 21-3 at halftime and Jalen Hurts comes out in the second half to start this game and works this team back into within 3 points, I would bet my fucking house that Carson Wentz comes out to finish that game. Because Doug Peterson is in do or die mode with his quarterback on his team, and he knows that he is as much on the chopping block as the $35 million quarterback and the GM who doesn't even know how to spell fucking football. I would love to tell you confidently that if Jalen Hurts comes in and performs well, this is his team. Me, Aaron, probably you, Jeff, about 1,000 people we ask on the street will agree with that sentiment. But this is just not what the Eagles do. It's not what Howie Roseman does, and obviously he's got a shitload to say. Why is Alshon Jeffrey on this fucking team? Obviously the front office has so much say over what Doug does. It's just not what Howie does, and it's just not what Doug does. So I'd love to tell you that it would happen that way. It just won't.
Speaking of which, the reports did come out. I think it came out yesterday or the day before that one of the reasons Doug was so excited about possibly going to another team is that he would have more control over the roster and the personnel, which goes back to a point that we brought up weeks back, Justin, that we were told, and there was rumors going around that Howie was setting the roster for Doug, and he was supposed to get him the roster by Wednesday. And one of the reasons they were having trouble in practice and preparing for games is that he actually wasn't getting them the roster until Friday or Saturday. So that goes kind of hand in hand. It looks like Doug is kind of working with what he has. And to be honest with you, I think what he has is good enough for the Eagles to be a 500 football team. There's a lot of skill players. There's good depth on the offensive and defensive line. I mean, they were putting together offensive lines with backups for half the season, but the reports coming from the Eagles media that Howie was making the decisions on the personnel and the roster seem to be true to an extent, because Doug seems like he might be salivating a little bit to get out of there, but he has to finish the job to enhance his coaching possibilities for next year.
But we see these bad coaches go all over the place all the time, bro. Like Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. For better, for worse, dude, he's going to be getting paid off that for the next 20 years. Yeah. He hasn't proved a lick of fucking anything since that Super Bowl win. But because he's got a Super Bowl on his resume, that's what's going to happen. I'll tell you, Doug Peterson would be smart to try to find a way to take over a team. Obviously, Chicago's overperformance. Chicago's not going to get rid of their head coach. But go to a place with John DeFilippo. If Frank Reich goes back to being an offensive coordinator, that's Doug Peterson's only way of success.
Well, Frank's going to be a head coach in this league now for the next 20 years.
Frank Reich, mark this motherfucker down and know where I said it. Frank Reich is going to be a world's better head coach than Doug Peterson could ever dream to be. Doug Peterson's players don't believe in him. Doug Peterson's front office doesn't believe in him. If you're telling me that the GM of the team, and I use GM strongly, again, Howie Roseman is basically the financial attorney of this fucking team. If you're telling me that guy gets say over the players that come out on Sunday while you're the head coach, you're a bad head coach. That's the end of it. There's no negotiations here. This team recognized when they let DeFilippo and Reich walk, they lost everything that they had. And I think what's happening right now is they're trying to find out if there is a person out there that can salvage Carson Wentz. Because we don't know if he's salvageable. I told you, dude, I'm going to start calling him Andrew Bynum Jr.
Broncos would take someone like that in a second. I mean,
absolutely.
There's guys that are going to feel.
Dude, again, who would love him? Frank Reich would take that quarterback in Indianapolis right now, without a doubt. Frank Reich had that guy playing like an MVP without much of talent around him. Again, Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount were your running backs. Who's better? Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount added together or Miles Sanders? Miles Sanders is the better player. Carson has better talent, and he's performing worse. And it's because Frank Reich talked to him. He got through to him. Whatever it is, some guys can't be coached by some type of guys. And Carson is a dude. You know this from the car industry. I'm a GM of a dealership, and I strive on having people behind me that are going to be as good as me once they reach the desk, because that means that we're all getting paid more. Carson's not that guy, bro. Carson sees somebody behind him that may be as good or better, and he shells up and he shuts down, just like what happened with Nick Foles. This is what Carson Wentz is. This is what he does. And again, hope they lose out, because if they lose out, leave the draft pick to the side. If they lose out, there are zero legs for this front office, for this coaching staff to lean on to keep their jobs next season. None of them. If they win one of these games, somebody's going to be able to say, Jim Schwartz shuts down somebody. Who cares? He's going to be able to say, look at what I did that week. And you're going to have some of this stick. So just to have a refreshing look on whether you're a Carson guy or a non-Carson guy, to have a better staff in this building, you got to lose out. Fuck the draft pick. That's bonus. That's cherry on top. Getting rid of this fucking staff in this front office should be all anybody is focused on right now.
Yeah. So the Eagles game is tomorrow at 8:15, Monday Night Football. Your slate of games for Sunday is going to start in about 15 minutes. Again, some very interesting games going on with Denver not having quarterbacks, Ravens players being out. That game's going on Tuesday. We'll see how we do this week. We'll be back with you guys on Wednesday. Any closing thoughts from either Jeff or Justin?
Jeff, I'm going to let you run first if you'd like, buddy.
Well, I'm glad I'm not an Eagles fan right now. How many years are left on Wentz's contract?
Oh, it doesn't start until next year.
Oh God, that's going to be tough to get rid of.
Yes.
For any sort of value whatsoever. So, if you're an Eagles fan, you're definitely hoping to lose, because Carson either needs a new voice or a change of scenery to be successful. And at $30 million a year, it's tough to put in. It's tough to put in Hurts over $30 million a year. Either you get rid of him or you get a new voice in there.
You're admitting you're wrong.
Quarterback. Yeah.
You can't have problem. They can't admit they're wrong.
You can't be successful and have a $30 million backup quarterback. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. It's hard to put talent.
It's true. The New York Jets are going to win outright this week.
Yeah.
I didn't get a react. There it is. Okay. The New York Jets are going to win outright in my upset of the week. I don't remember what Aaron's was, but he'll tell you. New England. That was right. The team that he would never pick again. Just another flip-flop out of our friend Aaron Barrison. Jets are going to win outright. This is my upset of the week. Again, I'm not 100% confident, but if you got $20 and the odds are as good as they are, may they forever be in your favor, and just throw $25 down on the Jets, and maybe everybody can thank me next week. We'll see what happens. Jets win is my upset. I think what do we call? We agreed KC's the lock, right?
Yeah, I like KC and I like the Raiders to beat the Falcons. Pretty handily.
Pick a game for me, dude. Those 3-point lines. Pick either one of them. You're going to be safe on that bet. And again, guys, I hope on Wednesday I can come on to this as we go live with a shit-eating grin on my face when a wide receiver covers a 15.5-point line for his team. I'm excited for it.
I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on this. Did you just suggest that someone puts their last $25 on the New York Jets?
I didn't say last. I said if you had 25.
Okay.
You never bet your last on the New York Jets.
All right.
Jeff's checking his bank account right now.
Right. Yeah.
So I like I like the Raiders this week a lot. We'll see how Tuesday plays out with who's going to be playing. Eagles, to me, are a pretty good lock, +5. I just think Seattle's going to handle that team. And if they don't, we're going to be having a different conversation on Wednesday. But I hope they just don't squeak out a game where, Seattle just plays a poor game and doesn't execute, because I like to see how we compete against teams that play at least their above average to best game. It'll show you that the Eagles are just not anywhere near the level of a team like that. The coach isn't anywhere near like a coach like Pete Carroll is, and our quarterback's nowhere near the quarterback that Russell Wilson is. We'll see if Jalen Hurts gets some reps. We might have something to talk about, and then we'll always have something to talk about when Doug Peterson gives us his post-game press conference and his live chats on Monday. Justin, you have a good rest of your day. Jeff, you have a good rest of your day, and we will see you guys on Wednesday.
All right, man.